Welcome back, YAH royal family. This is a princess of YAH, a servant and a vessel. So I wanted to share a second part to this, which is called the races of men. And it's just really interesting. I would say that they never thought that one day we probably would read this. So this is a doctor, an MD, and his name is Robert Knox. Okay, so I'm gonna pick up here, and let me take off my glasses. I can see better without it, of course. Okay, so to continue, it says, by this kind of right, that is power or might, we siege North America, dispossessing the native race to whom America naturally belonged. We drove them back into the primitive forest, in which they mentioned slaughtering. Our descendants, the United States men, drove us out by the same right, that is, might. Might, that means power. The same tragedy was repeated in South America. The mingled hosts, and it says the Celtic Barians, adventures brought against the feeble Mexicans, and of course Persia, the Brazilians, the strength and knowledge and the arms of European men, the strength of a fair, or at least of a fairer race. The Pope of Rome sanctified the atrocities. It was an old tragedy again. The fair races of men against the dark races, the strong against the feeble, the united against those who knew not how to place even a centennial, the progresses against those who stood still, who could not or would not progress. So this is a time that lines up with the Bible, that Father took the might out of our hands, gave them the power. So I'm going to just skip through here. It says, look all over the globe. It is always the same. The dark races stand still. The fair progress. The fair, meaning the white race, the European race. So they said all over the globe. So it just, again, letting us know that we have been all over the globe, as it is today, but they want to make it seem like we came from one area, which was the continent of Africa, which is not even the correct name. So it goes on to say here, it says, see how a company of London merchants lord it over 100 millions of colored men. And it's speaking of Hindustan, which is Hindus, representing Hindu. I doubt the story of 100 millions, however, the hot sons of India exalt. I have remarked the brains of Europeans who sojourn long there, but be it as they say, the fact is astounding. While I now write, the Celtic race is preparing to siege North Africa. So while he's writing at that time, they were about to siege North Africa. By the same right, we besieged Hindustan, which is actually Hindu. That is mighty physical force. The only real right is physical force. Will we not be behind on the graphs of more acres, annex New Zealand and all its dependencies to the British dominions, to be wrested from us by and by our sons and descendants of the United States and Canada will be, for no Saxon race can ever hold a colony long. The coolness with which this act of appropriation has been done, it is, I think, quite unparalleled in history of aggressions. A slip of parchment sign officially its issue from the den of all abuses. Okay, so let's move forward here. See what else they may have. The Indian Empire, as we call it, have turned out so profitable an investment for British capital. Although for obvious reason, it never can become a permanent colony of England, suggested to the office the idea of founding a similar empire in the heart of Africa. Everything seemed favorable for the enterprise. Southern Africa has long been ours. The southern extratropical part, partly held nominally by the Portuguese, that is good as not held at all. Okay, so it's going on to talk about the desert, separating Central Africa from Moroccans, from the Celtic, and from the present Egyptian ruler. Central Africa full of wealth, a productive soil, and a feeble black population, which he's speaking, calling it powerless. Nothing could be more favorable, and I have not the smallest doubt that the officials at the colonial office already contemplated another India in Central Africa. The wealth, the product of the labor of many millions of Africans, in reality slaves, as the natives of Hindustan, but held to be free by legal fiction, might be poured into the coffers of the office. But at last, for land-seeking colonial secretaries, climate interfered